Alright, so we're trying to refactor this. As we said, we're creating an event listener. In case you're just popping into this video in the middle, we are on week 2, day 3 of our JavaScript to-do list course. And this is part 2 of the day 3 video. I had to grab some water. Now, we've got a show to-dos function. And when we show the to-dos, we're clearing all of the inner HTML of this list element. So anything that's in here, we're going to remove it, and then we're going to use our data structure, which is, made some backup files, I don't need those, which is an array. And anything that's in the array, we've got a for each loop, and for each element in the array, we're going to create a list element. We're going to create a delete button. We're going to call it delete. Now, we're creating this event listener each time. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to remove this bit of code here. And I want to Google basically how I can refactor this. Basically, okay, so we want to call event bubbling. So when I use event bubbling to handle events, delete button, click events in a JavaScript to do this. All right, so it's going to teach us a bit about this. So event bubbling in JavaScript allows for efficient handling of events on dynamically added or numerous elements by attaching a single event listener to a common ancestor. This technique is known as event delegation. To handle delete button click events in JavaScript to-do lists using event bubbling, identify the common parent element. So for us, is that list, the UL, unordered list item. And then we attach a single event listener to that document. And then whenever a class list contains delete button, okay, this is looking pretty good. Then we delete that event. Or yeah, then we delete that element. Now, how do we know which element to delete? Event target. Okay, that's just to access its parent element, but to do and remove it. Closest event target closest to do item. Okay. To do item. Okay. let's give it a try. I'm a little confused, to be honest, but I think we've got this bit here. So first, let's jump back over to our code, and we still are going to have the delete button. We're going to add the delete button text, but we're not going to add this event listener here. We're going to comment this code out. We are going to have an event listener in our app. Add to-do button. And we are going to have a to-do list element. And that is what we're going to add the event listener to. And we're looking for a click and function. All right, so let's think about what we need to do. All right, because I've got that window over here, but I'm going to try not to look at it. I want to kind of talk through it. So, okay. So what we want to do is check. We need to check the event target. And we need to check. And so if it has a delete button class, then we want to remove the nearest to do. What do we have on our own? We don't have any class on our to-do right now. So we've got this delete button, but by the same idea, we should be able to say list item, this element that we're creating, class list equals to do item. Maybe we should make this I was seeing maybe we should get fancy and like try to put the number 1 in there. Let's not try to get too fancy. Maybe we could look for an ID potentially. Instead of doing a class, we could target specifically an ID that has the to do. What is that code? To do, replace with an ID. And what do we call that when we're using this? A string interpolation. That looks wrong. That right? String interpolation. String interpolation. Template literals. That was what I was thinking. Template literals. All right. So then we might be able to have something like to do list 1, to do item 1. All right. So, but now we're going to say the class list. We want to add. Why am I saying equals? Add, and then this goes in here. All right. So we're going to add this class to this, and we're going to find the nearest to-do item class element, nearest element with the to-do item class. So function. I think that we can do something like, I'm going to look over here. Right. Okay. I was right. I should have tried it without looking at it, but I cheated. Function event. And then so what we can do is let's just console.log the event target value. All right. Save that. All right. And so we want to delete a to-do. All right. When we click this, let's Control-Shift-I and bring this open. We want to click on the delete. There is, so let's just look at the target. So, because there must not be a value. So it did do something. This must not be a target. So event target. All right. Let's see what we're actually clicking here. So test. When we click delete, we're clicking in button class delete button delete. So what we want to say is, so when I'm clicking this item, I get the item. When I'm clicking the delete, I get the delete because I put the event listener on this item. Cool. All right. So what you want to do is, so if event.target class list, I wonder how we say contains. How to tell if a class list contains a class in JavaScript. Class list. Okay, good. So we got a method contains. Class list dot contains, and we want to say to do item. No, delete button. Then we want to console.log delete button. Click. For now, let's remove that. Right. Delete name. So we didn't get a delete button clicked. Event target what's console log event target? There must not be a class list on the target. Okay. So add delete button. So the button event. Okay. Maybe we just want to see the event. Okay, there's a pointer event. Target button, delete button. So event, target, and then attributes. Wow. What else do we have? Class name. All right. So class name, event, target, class name, equals. Okay, maybe we'll try contains. Contains. Let's try it. Class, target, class name, contains. Oh, you know what? Maybe because this should be a delete button. Maybe it would have worked. Contains. Class list. Delete button click. So it did have a class list. Target. Class list. All right, excellent. So if it has a delete button clicked, then we want to, this is the part they have to look back, how to delete the closest element of a particular. How can in Java, so JavaScript, how can we delete the nearest element with a of a certain closest element dot closest at target closest target element closest, and so we can remove target element closest, remove. All right, let's try it. We want to do target closest element and target element. Event target closest element. Do item. Is that right? To do item. dot to-do item. So dot is for class and pound. We saw pound earlier. Pound is for ID. Dot is for class. That's a CSS syntax. Okay. Let's see. Deleting. Well, the button was clicked, but we didn't. Oh, we ought to remove it. We just got it removed. Let's see. Delete. Boom. Nailed it. All right. So now we've created a single event list. All right, let's go back to our things we wanted to try to accomplish. Each to-do is going to have its own to-do button. I already put the chickens up. What do I need to do before I finish video? I need to, look at that, we found a bug. Troubleshoot bug. We're not removing it. So we removed it. How do we remove it from the array? We need to know the index. How are we going to know what the index is? All right, let's see. Let's dive deeper in AI mode. So how I've used this to delete the closest to-do item to the delete button. But now, how do I remove the item from the data array? I don't know how to associate or determine index. Data ID or data index. Okay, so let me see if this is something that I plan to cover tomorrow. This set index. No, I was supposed to cover it today. So we get our to-dos. This isn't really our to-dos right now. We're not like this at all. But data ID or data index attribute. I'm just going to use index. Okay, so list item data ID equals. So then I click it, I parse it. So we try to find the, and then we parse it and we get the ID. Now we have the list item. We then, I guess, use this parse int to get the data set ID. And then we delete the item from the array, and then we delete the item from the page. Okay, that's pretty, okay, so let's see if we can figure that out. So up here, instead of, we do need this class, but we also have to add a data set. How did we add a data set? Add a data item. I don't really know how to do that. Add a data item. All right, we gotta look this up. Data item. Set attribute. Element set. All right. Let's try it. Set attribute. So we're going to set list item, set attribute, data ID, and we're going to use the index. Now, this is not a good practice. Ideally, we should use some type of key generator and generate a unique key. But we're building up slowly. So we're going to set an attribute, a data attribute. And then down here, now that we have this data ID, we have to parse int. Before we remove it, let's add this to a variable. Move from UI. All right. And then for now, we're going to say that the list item is equal to that. And then so if we have a list item, then we are going to want to remove to do and we just do parse int, and we are going to say list item. I have to look over here. List item dot data set dot ID. Data ID. Set attribute data ID. Data set. Okay. Data set ID. All right. And then we're going to list item dot remove. When we remove the to do, we have a handle remove. So that might screw everything up. Have a handle add. Okay. I think we're good here. All of this is no longer even part of an application. Okay. All right, let's see what we got. All right. Now we're getting close to go to bed. All right, we've got to go to bed. Let's say, you know what? Let's listen to a YouTube video after we go to bed. And let's then go sleep. All right, so now we want to delete one of these things. Nice. All right. Okay, so I feel like that was pretty good. We pushed ourselves a little bit. We did some stuff we didn't really know very much about. We used the search. We learned some things. We're taking it pretty slow, but you know, we've got a functioning app, and this is pretty fun. Having a good time. So for your homework and for my homework, what we should do is think about what other kinds of buttons that we might need. Should we have a clear, what if we had a clear all to-dos button up here that just erased everything? Good. Thinking about some other functionality. All right. Looking forward to tomorrow where we're going to talk about storing the to-dos. Because currently if I hit test and ooh, look at that. Somehow we had a problem. Look at that. There is an error. Our test always seems to be like something is not getting deleted. Interesting. There's a bug in our code, something that we're doing which is not functioning. So we need to troubleshoot that. But then tomorrow we're going to look at persistent data. And so join us for that. Have a great night.